What's up, OCBL fam? This is your commissioner, Zico Pepic, here with another episode of the Pass First, Shoot Later podcast. Today, I'm here with my partner in crime, my homie, Omar Almadine, the guy I started this league with. We're going to do something a little different. Usually we have people that I interview on this show, but what we want to start doing is trying to do a weekly show where we talk about the league, talk about hoops. We'll try and do it Mondays right after the games, go over some of the stuff that happened, some of the great plays that happened, some of the great games that happened. Obviously, this weekend we had a great matchup versus each other. So we're going to start doing this a little more often and see how things go. Omar, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good, man. The start to the week, after last night's stuff, last second win, it's good to wake up Monday morning with a win. Sorry, Zico.
Well, it's not Monday morning anymore. It's Wednesday, so we said we'll start doing it on Mondays, but today's Wednesday. So this week
This is our first blooper of the season, checked in the full, I thought we were gonna act like it was a Monday, but you're right. It is hump day. So
there you
fuck
go.
it. Let's get through
Both our
this.
wives are across the seas right now, so
Yeah,
we have
so
nothing better to do.
nothing better to do but to talk basketball, which they hate us hearing us talk.
Exactly. So we'll do it while they're gone. So yeah, man, that was actually a pretty crazy game. Let's recap it. A lot of people probably didn't see the highlights. I haven't posted specifics for the highlights yet. I did get them from Matt Scott, Matt and Andres. Thank you guys for sending them to me.
Shout out to Matt and 1%
Yeah.
videos on a weekly. Hey, Matt, don't forget, I better have Simba on my background this week. We talked about that. Shout out to the homie Simba.
So yeah, we had a minute left to go in the game. I think the lead changed 6 times in that last minute. One team going up 1 point each time. We had a play which was a little controversial. You got a little upset about. Your boy Cal was called for a foul against my teammate Vlad, the big Russian. You thought it should not have been called on Cal. I did send you a video to show you where the foul went.
You know what? I'm glad you bring that up because it's a game of angles, right? Whether it's coaching, playing, or actually officiating. And we'll probably get into the officiating part at some point in this podcast today, but it's a game of angles. And the video you sent me showed an angle straight on versus us on the backside watching it. So it's definitely Cal. Cal, you did foul out, bro.
I
You
love
legitimately fouled out, bro.
I didn't touch him. I didn't touch him. It was Eric. Eric yanked him down. Then we look at the video and Eric's nowhere in sight, and Cal just
Nah, Cal's just 5 feet wide. You
I
couldn't
know,
see
man.
Eric.
Yeah.
So Eric was in the picture, but it was Cal after the box out just dragging Vlad down. I thought it was Eric, but it was actually Vlad. I mean, it was actually Cal.
So yeah,
So I stand corrected.
Vlad gets the rebound, gets fouled, hits 2 free throws. We go up 3 points at this point. I think there's 20 seconds left. Dwayne Lee comes down the court, uses a pick, gets the ball, pops a three off, foul and one. Doba Sports up one. We have no timeouts left. As soon as the ball goes in, we bullet down the court, and Chris Long gets a beautiful dime to Kamarley Williams to go up one with 0.8 seconds left. Now, Omar, there's not a lot you could do with 0.8 seconds. Most of us know that. That's a pretty tough spot. So I want to know what play you actually drew up that went that terribly wrong that God decided he's going to help you that night and just adjust it slightly to go your way.
You know what? I'm gonna say shout out to the basketball gods. You know what I'm saying? They came through. And shout out to Eric for his court awareness because the play we drew with 0.8, you really all you can do is get a tip in, pause, or an actual dunk. And it was actually supposed to be a lob play. That's why I had Josh at 6'5" taking the ball out, trying to throw a lob to Dwayne. Because last week Dwayne dunked on somebody. So,
Wayne
I'm
was
gonna go
nowhere
for
near the play, and that was the worst pass I've ever seen in my life.
well, no, see, so you're asking me how we got there, right?
I know, I
So
know.
it was actually supposed to be a lob to Dwayne. Eric was supposed to set the elevator screen for Dwayne to go back door. Josh was supposed to throw the lob. And I had told Dwayne, and I think Andres and Matt should have our huddle where I told Dwayne, I said, I don't fucking care if they call an offensive foul. You go through the motherfucker to dunk it. That's the only way you're gonna win it. And you know, being that there's a 5 second count, um, Eric didn't set the screen right, and you guys went over the screen or went under the screen, and Dwayne tried to cut across, and Josh was like, "Fuck it, I just got to throw it in," and threw it off the glass, and it touched nobody and landed in the paint. And Eric was like, "Oh shit, I got the
It
ball,"
landed
and
right in
just
his
grabbed
hand.
it and threw it up.
It literally came right to his hand. It didn't even hit ground. It came right to his hands, off the backboard, right past Vlad's hands. It looked really close, like it almost hit Vlad's fingers. Had he touched it, it's a different game. But yeah, it fell right in Eric's hands. And I think my guys also stopped. They thought once it hit the backboard, clock should start. It doesn't start till it hits the rim or a player's hand.
That's the difference with guys with high IQ and low IQ.
Dude, Eric didn't even realize it. Eric just got the ball in his hand, chucked it up, and like was looking around like, did it count? Did it count? Half
Hey,
the guys in the gym didn't realize it counted.
hey, Eric low key was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I know. I
So
was
I'll
messaging
admit
him
that it was an
afterwards.
oh shit moment. But
Yeah,
you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. 2-1. I know. I, I'm still bitter from last year's loss, so I'll take a last minute win this week. So I'll admit I'm petty. So
I
I'll
was
take it.
I was messaging with Eric afterwards. Like I can't even be mad. Like I can't even be mad in that situation. For something to go like that, it's like that's just the way it's meant to be. That's the way it played out. It was a great game. The whole game was great. Actually, it was one of the better games that we've had in a long while. I think I would say top 5 OCBL game for sure. And mostly because of the defense. I think both teams played so hard on defense. For it to be a low scoring game like that, where both teams were getting very few good looks. So I was happy with it, regardless of the loss. It was a good game. So
No, definitely. Most of the shots or most of the buckets were contested. We didn't have too many fast break buckets on both teams. Guys made tough shots. Chris made big shot after big shot. Dwayne made some big shots. Actually, Khalil hit a couple big shots for us down the line. But definitely both teams played good on the defensive end, which is a good game.
So moving on, because I don't want to remind
Yeah.
us too many times tonight about how we lost that game. We had another big game that night. Actually, a record for OCBL. Family Ties versus Happy Hoopers. Noah Blanton set a rebounding record. He had 20 rebounds in his game. Excuse me, at 17 points, 20 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. So monster game from Noah again. Guy's a monster on the boards. I don't think anyone works as hard as he does getting rebounds.
No, definitely. Noah is a unique player across the board. His athleticism, his knack for being there at the right time, at the right place, and reading the floor, his ability to rebound at a high level, makes him a great addition to any team. A big high energy, high level guy. Actually, it's funny. I talked to Noah right after the game. When I was on my trip overseas, there was discussions about trying to get a scrimmage against the Lebanese national team preparing for the World Cup. And one of the players that came to my mind that I was going to call if that came to fruition was Noah. Trying to get him some exposure. I know he doesn't want to go overseas. There's a lot. It takes a lot to be an overseas player.
It does.
It's not just the athletic, it's not just the athletic part of it or the basketball part. There's a lot of the psychological aspect of being a professional athlete. And he was like, He was like, nah, man, I don't know if I would have did it, but I was like, I was there. He's like, okay, that would have changed everything. Knowing that you were there, I would have probably considered it. And he said, good looking for thinking of me, but definitely a high level player. Everything and humble,
Mm.
humble, great guy, and just a great person to be around on the court, whether he's playing with you or against you.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on something right now. You talked about how hard it is for people to play overseas. I don't think people realize it. You know, we're obviously from overseas, both of us. Our families are, and so we both visit overseas often. So I have a lot of connections with people that are playing over there. People have come from over here, gone to play over there. You know, every summer I go over there, I go play basketball. I play 3-on-3 FIBA basket. I play 5-on-5 whenever I can. Most guys don't want to run. These Balkans are all lazy. You know that, Omar.
Nobody overseas wants to run 5-on-5. All they want to do is play
3-on-3 is a thing.
3-on-3 or 4-on-4 half court.
Yep. But
It's annoying.
yeah, one of the things that's kind of funny to me though is all these guys say they want to play. They're hell bent on playing overseas. They come to our league and they play with our ball, and they say I can't play with this ball. And I don't think real people like realize like the entire rest of the world plays with molten.
They'll
And
they'll find out come August, come late August when the World Cup happens and Team USA and everybody else is playing with that ball that
they're playing
everybody
with it now.
complains about.
Yeah, they're playing with it now. So it's if you really want to play overseas, you might want to start practicing at OCBL with the molten ball. You know, it's a good precursor to what possibly could be down the line for you. So it always makes me laugh when I hear people complain about it, and then they say, "Yeah, I want to go play overseas." So
No, definitely. I mean, shout out to one of our teammates from last year, Steve Burt. When he came to play with us and he saw the ball, it was kind of like, oh,
yeah,
like he got excited. He was like, I play with this. I've been playing with this ball for 17 years,
yeah. Sean
and
Marshall too.
you know what I'm saying. And so speaking of that, is those are the type of guys that if this is a message to these younger guys that play in OCBL or recent college grads. If you're trying to become a professional basketball player, it's the Steve Burts and the Sean Marshalls of the world that have had long professional careers across the water that you should understand what it takes from them. If you can ever connect with one of them, those are the people.
Justin too.
Oh well,
Yeah,
Justin as
pick
well.
those brains. If you're a young guy, go. You know, Justin's one of those guys. Like if you ask him to work out with him, he's going to go work out with you, and he's going to put you through a really good workout and show you details that you're not going to find anywhere else from any other trainer. And anytime you could get guys at that skill level, those are three of my favorite players that have played in this league. So I
And
agree.
and Justin, shout out to Justin here. One thing I do want to point out is it doesn't matter the level that you play at in college, because Sean played at Boston College, Steve Burke played at Iona, second all-time leading scorer there. Justin played locally at Concordia,
Yep.
and yet had established himself a real high level professional, played in the G League, played overseas, and continues to play at a high level at this part of his career. So, it takes certain work ethic to become a pro. It doesn't matter the level that you play at.
Yep. I think it's really important to note there are hoopers everywhere at every single level. There are hoopers that didn't make it to any level. There are guys who it took them a little longer for their bodies to develop, and they became hoopers later on in their careers. There are guys who developed really early but kind of tailed off as everyone caught up to them. There's so much to this stuff that I think people forget about. And like that's one of the reasons like I wanted to make this league as professionally as I could. When you have an opportunity to play in something, which shout out to Pros Vision as well, they did something really similar. When you have an opportunity to play in something where you have stats, you have videos, you're in an atmosphere that is as close to team basketball as you can be without like an actual coach and trainers and everything else that would be nice to have in our league as well. You kind of engulf yourself in that atmosphere of maybe I could still use this to help myself get better to get there, or man, I didn't make it, but I'm so glad to still be part of something like this because it's fulfilling. It's a lot of fun, I think, and something I'm really happy with in the direction we're going.
No, definitely. And you know, Zico, speaking about the professionalism that we're trying to, you know, to present or instill. And I know we have some kinks that we got to work through. I know players complain about certain things week in and week out. Um, you know, those are heard. We're trying our best to fix things. I mean, yes, we've run successful leagues over the years, and Zico's run successful leagues for the last 10 years. But you know, always starting a brand new league, there's always some, huh?
Longer,
What'd you say? No,
longer.
I know longer, but yeah, but starting a new league, there's always kinks that you have to, you know, figure out and fine tune and fix. And but speaking about the product that we're trying to put out there, you know, Steve Burt has now, Zico, you know this, has reached out to us. He's he's trying to give back to the game, and he's working with an agent right now, and he's reached out to me about a couple, you know, couple jobs that he's looking for guys to fill. And you know, when I told him about, you know, we have some guys in OCBL and the fact that he played and saw the level of competition for a 17-year pro, he was like, hell yeah, send guys my way, because he knows the type of basketball that's being played in our league. And, you know, one of the guys I want to speak about him on this podcast today is Isaac Davis. Steve is trying to help Isaac Davis right now. He's a rookie coming out of Vanguard, help him get a job overseas. And he loved his highlight tape from college because Zico, European style basketball is different than American basketball. You know that. And you know, Isaac has fell in this little bubble of, you know, not the typical point guard for America, but he can pass his ass off. And that's what Europe looks at point guards. You know, there's the combo guards, but those type of guards that can get everybody involved and make those passes he makes. Steve is like, he just needs to get his foot in the door, and he'll be able to shine in Europe.
Omar, I want to point something out to you. Just think about the stat line for a second. Okay. He averages 7 points, 3.7 rebounds, 9 assists, almost a steal, which I'd like to see him improve on that. But 7 points, 9 assists, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 7 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal. Who does that kind of remind you of?
Zico.
Yeah. There's a reason why, like, I saw that kid play and like I just loved him right from the get-go. So much of today's players are so focused on scoring, hitting threes, even trying to get a ton of steals or a ton of blocks. They miss some of the important things to basketball that are critical for a team. I love what Isaac does. I'm a big fan of him. He reminds me a lot of me. He's flashier. I think I was a better defender than he is. Being that, you know, NBL, I was 2-time defensive player of the year. And I chased everybody, you know, wherever we went, they said, Zico, go guard that guy. I was the one.
You like the challenge.
I like the challenge.
You like the challenge.
I'd like to see him do that, develop some of that. I'm hoping playing next to Justin, some of that leadership skills that Justin has kind of rubs off onto him as well, because I think that he's still young. And, you know, being one of the young guys, sometimes it's hard to be a leader. But I think if he sees how Justin runs the team, how Justin's the leader, he'll learn from that. So I'm super fond of his game. You know, we had him in our pros division team. I love the kid. I think he still needs a little bit more to develop, but he has the European style basketball. It will absolutely translate. That's how they play in Europe. Nobody in Europe, like I tell people this all the time, whenever there's a draft and like some European kid gets drafted first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and they announce his stat line and it's like, oh, he averaged 6 points and 2 rebounds and 1 assist. And they're like, oh, bro, he's a bum. No, bro, like Europe is different. That's
for
it.
Sure.
Yeah, leading scorers in the entire leagues usually average like 17 to 21 points a game.
That's very rare. If you average anywhere between 13 to 17 points with a high percentage in Europe,
Superstar.
huh?
You're a superstar.
You're a superstar. Exactly. Like there's no 30-point scores. There's no 25-point scores. Those are so far in between. If you're averaging 25 in Europe, you're not playing EuroLeague or Euro Cup. You're playing in one of those lower divisions where they have one American
Yep.
and everything goes through you.
Yep. Yep.
You know, and it's funny you say that because, you know, we know a lot of people playing across the waters, and it's like the stat lines. It's like, dude, if you're in Europe and you're averaging 11, 5, and 6 as a guard, you're good.
You're big time.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, Isaac,
even then over there, they tell you, oh, 11, 5, and 6, that's no good. It should be 5, 11, and 6. That's how they think over there for a point guard. It's literally like that. That's the thought process. They even think for centers, like if you're a center and you're not getting 5 assists a game, something's wrong with you, because we play inside out and we throw it to the big man first and slash around him, and he's supposed to find them. So
you need 12, 9, and 5.
Yeah.
12, 9, and 5 for a big man.
That's where Jokic came from, man. I keep telling people, like, there's so many guys that play like him, and I've played with for the last 20 years. A bunch of those big guys play like that.
And, you know, I'm going to put this out there on this podcast, and whoever's hearing this is a chance for you to understand European basketball versus the NBA. Kemba Walker is now playing for Team Monaco in France. And that's a 20 plus point scorer in the NBA. I want to see what his stat line right now when he's playing alongside Mike James, who's also a former NBA player. And let's see his stats. You're going to understand the difference.
Yeah, it's different. But I mean, also, like, there's some guys that can't adjust to it. I'm wondering, will Kemba Walker be able to adjust to it? He likes having the ball in his hands a lot, and sometimes that free-flowing offense that Europe does, it kind of limits a point guard. Like, again, they don't want 11, 5, and 6. They want 5, 11, and 6 from their point guard. And they could move him to shooting guard, which I could see if there's a 6'5", 6'6" point guard on the team, and they could just tell him, Kemba, go off, you be the scorer. But I could see him having some issues where point guard might be a little different for him out there. So I'm curious to see how that works out for him.
No, it's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic, like you said, because as I mentioned, he got Mike James there, who's also a small guard. You know, Mike has been there for the last couple of seasons. I mean, let's point this out. Mike James, everybody knows Mike James played with Phoenix, played with Brooklyn, and he put up some big numbers in the NBA. And I love his shot making ability, his high floater, his finger roll high floater, his sidestep threes. Mike averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5.5 assists in France.
As a scoring guard.
And don't quote me on the number, guys, but this guy is making hundreds, if not millions of dollars playing overseas. And he's averaging 13, 3, and 5.
I don't know what his contract is overseas.
I heard it's in that it could be closer to $1 million, 1.2 or something like that. But don't quote me because I'm not 100% on that number. But you know, this is a guy that played in the NBA.
You just said hundreds of millions, so I was like, wait, what?
No, hundreds. I'm sorry, hundreds of thousands.
Okay, because
yeah,
so I was like,
I'm sorry, hundreds of thousands.
Like that now, like
no, hundreds of thousands to $1 million range for Mike James. But yeah, that's a guy that averaged, 13 points.
I think there's multiple guys in our league that are capable of pursuing this. I would love to see a couple of them try about. Obviously, we're just talking about Noah. Noah's one of those guys. He has a couple teammates I could actually see possibly getting into a situation where they can make a team. Anthony LaFleur obviously has already been playing overseas and professionally. But even Connor Nally, he would need to polish up his defense. But he has that length that I could see a team loving, especially if it's a pass first team. if it's a pass first team and you have a guy like Connor that slashes the way he does and finds their slashers, like if you have a big man who's a legit passer, I could see Connor making a team, honestly, as well. I don't know if that's something he's interested in or anything like that, but there's a lot of players. And just going back to the game Noah had, you look at the opposition. I just had some of the Happy Hoopers on a podcast. Brian Chambers, Matt Scott, and JT were on the last podcast. And JT, I believe, did play professionally. Matt Scott and Brian chose not to. I think both of those are capable had they pursued it. But they came away with their first loss in this game. Happy Hoopers was playing really good basketball in their first 2 games. The defense was amazing. Brian Chambers showcased himself as an MVP candidate. He had a little bit of an off night against Family Ties, which I think Family Ties just kind of came back to their normal self, having Connor back. Their team kind of balanced itself out. Connor, Yannick, and Noah are a tough trio to match up with that length. So it's good to see them get their first win. Obviously, Happy Hoopers weren't happy that night, but let's talk about that game a little bit, what you thought about it in terms of matchup and in terms of potential of each team.
And I think that was the game I showed up at the tail end of it, so I didn't catch the bulk of it.
I did get to watch,
but
I did get to watch it all. Again, Connor being back, Yannick, basically their core of their squad being there helped them a lot. It just free flowed the offense. In the first game, Jason Payne played amazing. I think he had 28 points in the first game of the season. It was a loss. In their second game, Jason was a little banged up, and it was pretty much an off game for everybody. But this week, that ball movement was there. If you look at their shooting, 14 for 19 for field goals. They were 11 for 29 for 3-pointers, which is a little down on their terms since they have so many good shooters, but 16 assists. That's when that team kills you. Just absolutely kills you.
Definitely. And speaking of the Payne twins, right? And I was talking to them when I walked in afterwards, and one thing that they did mention to me is last week's game was the first game where they had mostly everybody there, their core team. So they felt like it was a needed kind of situation for everybody to be present. So they did point that out.
Yeah. Happy Hoopers was missing JT for this game. JT obviously would have helped. That's a scorer for that team. Team looked like it struggled a little bit to get some easy buckets. Matt had 14, Aaron had 16, and Brian had 12. There wasn't much from anyone else at that point. I think JT would have kind of balanced out that group to give him a couple more easy buckets. And I think JT versus Connor would have been a really fun matchup to watch. So I'm a little bummed that I didn't get to see that. But
there's the second game. Hopefully they're there, both of them.
Yeah, they do get to face each other again. So that's a game to watch down the line. Next game to go over was another fun one. It was another buzzer beater. We had Recognize versus Pippin Ain't Easy. Pippin Ain't Easy, 2-0. I don't know, 2-1. I'm sorry. I don't know how many people expected that. I'm not really surprised. Brandon Smith he's one of those guys, Omar, that if we can get him there, I think he has an opportunity to be very successful overseas. He finished with 15 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 4 blocks, and that was matched up against Christian Clark the whole game. The team actually won it on the backs of Kevin Thomas, of all people, hit 2 threes at the end of the game while the team was down, the last one being a game-winning buzzer beater.
Once again, shout out to the basketball gods. Right. Kevin hit 2 back-to-back threes in the last, under a minute in the game. And the first one was the big one to keep them in position of win. And he made the right play on the extra pass to one of his shooters who had a great closeout by I think it was Mark Butler or Christian, that the ball came right back to him wide open. He took it and it was nothing but net. And I told him, I said, that's the basketball guys, because you made the right play the first time. It came right back around. And then he gets the ball with less than 10 seconds left and hits that dagger to win. You know, I think it was Mark, or no, it was Mahmoud complaining about, you know, Kevin hit the three. And I was like, dude, I don't care if it's a good shooter or a bad shooter. You never leave somebody wide open for game.
That's right. I mean,
know, and he just hit one right before that. So, you know, he had confidence going into that last shot.
Everyone in this league,
definitely,
everyone in this league could hit a game winner. You know, it just, it's your night or it's not your night at that point. And that night was Kevin. So
it's funny. That's Kevin's only points. Kevin had 6 points that game. He was 2 for 4 from 3.
Yep.
And those 2 shots came at the right time.
Yeah.
But definitely Brandon Smith. I mean, he is a difference maker. You know, his athleticism, his ability on the help side defense, his ability to clean up the glass. You know, he's to me, depending on how Pimpin' Ain't Easy finishes the season, he's probably a rookie of the year candidate for me.
A rookie of the year and MVP candidate. You know, obviously it depends on how they
potentially,
like you said. And you know, speaking on that and what they potentially could do, there's 2 other guys on this team you and I are both really fond of. I mentioned them to you the minute you came. I said you got to watch these 2 kids, and right away it clicked for you. The Rashid brothers, Noah Rashid and Caden Rashid. Really fond of their games. I love both of their styles. You know, one of them is more of a pass first guard. The other one's more of a shooter, which is funny how that happens with brothers, right? You could look at
me. You're the passer, and Dino thinks he's the shooter.
Yeah. So, Noah had a great game. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. There's another one of those stats. One of those stats, right? And then Caden finished with 16 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Both these guys,
that 4 for 7 from 3.
Yeah.
And his two buckets, the two field goals, those were in the last minute where he made a great basketball decision play. After hitting those threes, he was able to pump fake and put the ball on the ground and get to the rim and finish.
I love how
high IQ.
Yeah, high IQ, but like physically, they're tough. They're, you know, it's my size, but he's stronger. They're a lot like the Payne twins. They take care of themselves. They're doing a good job taking care of themselves. They got strength. You can see that they can guard up. You know, they don't have. I think Noah was matched up with Chima for a lot of the game, and obviously he's a lot smaller than Chima, but he plays so hard defensively, gets into the right position every single chance he can, that he can, for possessions, go guard bigger guys. I love seeing that. I know how hard it is for guys to play up on defense like that when you're smaller. So I really like both these guys. Last week, Caden was matched up against Yannick for most of the game. And I mean, Yannick was still able to score over him, but Caden made it tough. And so I'm super fond of these guys. I think these guys are great. I think they're going to be huge for this team. I think them too and Brandon that's
definitely a good trio to have.
It reminds me a lot. It reminds me a lot of the Family Ties team, you know, the twins and Noah.
Noah and the twins. Yep.
Yeah. And so they don't really have a Yannick, which I think maybe one of those post finishers would help. But when you offset some of that with Kevin's height, John Joyce's size, and they also have one other guy who wasn't there this last week, who's just about a 6'6" forward / center who's going to help them a lot as well. I think this team has the potential to do some damage and surprise teams, similarly to what Family Ties did, I want to say 2 seasons ago, not last season, because I think last season was pretty elite from them.
Yeah. And you know what? To keep credit for the new guys on Pimpin' Ain't Easy, Pimpin' Ain't Easy, but you know they're a broke man's version of the Family Ties crew. So let's not no disrespect to the new guys, but they still got to establish that presence that the Family Ties core guys have established.
Yeah.
A game, let's look back at recognize, that here's your defending champs. Even though I'm putting an asterisk on it, I told you I'm petty. I'm petty. This is a podcast. I'm going to say it how it is. But you know what? They kept their team intact, which again, you won a championship. You feel like you have the right pieces to win it again. A lot of teams have changed rosters, added players. My team's almost a brand new look. But the one thing I do want to point out for recognize now that we've had 3 weeks of basketball in our league is, can the individual play of MVP candidate Christian Clark be enough to outdo the rest of the teams that play together, that have good defense?
So the asterisk next to that question is they don't have their full roster, which I think some people do forget about. This team is a lot better than they have been so far this season. Number one, they're missing Vito. I think Vito is a game changer no matter what team he's on. He's a number 1/number 2/number 3 option on most teams. Vito alone changes that team, but they're also still without Gerald Williams, which
and those are valid points. And both of those guys are homies. Vito's the homie, Gerald is a little bro, and I can speak freely about both of these guys. Those are still individual. They're team players, but they're also individual style scorers. They're bucket getters. They're tough guards. They can get a bucket. They can shoot. They can get to the paint. But again, shout out to Mark Butler, one of the best guards right now in our league, because of his ability to not back down from any assignment, hustle. He's all over the place. But again, those are two good basketball players, both professionals that play professional basketball, but they don't create for others as much as you would like to see on that team. They're missing a creator for Kyle, their shooter. You know what I'm saying? Getting some pick and roll action with Chima. They got Chad, who also can catch and shoot. So there's a lot of individual basketball there, and that's what concerns me with how the other rosters look.
Well, I will say this. I'm a fan of Recognize. I really like Christian. I gave Christian his nickname the second he got to this league. The first day I saw him, I was raving about him. I knew he's going to be a good player. I'm a huge fan of Mark. My issue when I watch Recognize is when it's going really good, it's elite. When it's going really good. When it's not going good, I see the problem of what's causing it. And sometimes those are hard to fix in a game where that's how that game is going. You talk about distribution. That game, they had 6 assists. Mark had 4 of them. And watching that game, they kept taking the ball out of Mark's hands quite a bit. I think that team flows better when Mark is allowed to hold the ball in his hands more and create for others. Like you said, like when Kyle only has 8 points this game, I don't think he had a very good game last game. I don't know if he scored last game, to be honest with you.
The game before last game too.
Correct. Yeah. So when I see Mark unable to create for those guys like Kyle, like Chima, and has limited possessions, or at least should have the ball in his hands more, we know Christian can score whenever he wants. But for them to win, I think Mark is the key. And every time you see them at their highest of highs, Mark is just killing it. He's destroying every other guard. He's playing at an elite level. And he did that the first week. The first week, he had a monster game. The last 2 weeks, I saw the ball go away from Mark. And I think that hurts them. I think that's those things you were just talking about. Having a guy who's going to create for others. He's that guy. He can average 10 assists a game in this league. But when you have so many guys who can score and who need the ball in their hands to score, and you take away from a guy who's going to create for others, you end up with 19 points for Christian, 11 points for Chad, and nobody else in double figures.
And I'm glad you bring that up because, I looked at the stats of game 1, 2, and 3. Game 3 and 2, they only had 6 assists as a team. They had 11. It's not significantly much, but Mark Butler finished with 24, 7, and 6. And then that's not significant to the fact that the scoring distribution at that point is 34 for MVP candidate Christian Clark, 16 for Chima, 13 for Kyle, 5 for Ish, and Mark had 24. So you had 4 guys in double-digit scoring, and that 6 assists plays a factor because he's even if it's the hockey pass, he makes the play to the next person. There's ball movement.
Yeah.
Then you go to game and they beat Family Ties, which we know we're shorthanded week 1. However, that's still one of the most cohesive, high chemistry teams in our league, and they beat them by double digits opening week. And that's the significance there about the influence of Mark Butler on that team. And Zico, you play them this week.
Yeah, I know.
So I hope this conversation doesn't wake up the sleeping giant and you can get your first win, bro.
Yeah, you know what though? Like I already know that there's a sleeping giant coming. Like Christian had one bad week the week before. He lost again this week. I know, I'm saying it again, Christian, it's Wednesday. You've already hit about 6,000 shots since your last loss. I'm expecting a good 20,000 up until the game. You're mad. God knows what you've done to the walls at your house. I know it's coming regardless. And also, me being commish and playing against some of these guards who I've played against when they were younger, I know Mark is going to come out. And if I'm healthy enough to play, if Mark is going to come out, he's going to do everything he can to light my ass up like he always tries. So that'll probably get him going too. So I'm excited for the game. It should be a good game. I'm pretty sure Gerald will be there. I don't know if Vito will be, but should be a good game. It'll be a fun matchup. It'll be actually a really fun matchup for me to see Christian Clark go up against Chris Long, who I think Chris Long is kind of a younger version of Christian, who's kind of still developing, but has that ceiling that Christian does. Very similar games. Both play their tails off every possession. So I think that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch this weekend.
Definitely. So speaking of, matchups, game 3 of our weekend was no match for Expendables versus Hot to Trot, and I point that out because some of my teammates mentioned that we lost against Expendables on week 2, and they're like, oh, they just decide to show up with 6 guys today. And I told them, I said, those 6 guys is all they need.
Yeah.
No disrespect, and shout out to Matt,
Antoine, Sammy, Antoine and Sammy,
and those guys, but they had the 6 guys that can make a high impact. And looking at that stat line going back, 17 assists as a team, 9 by Isaac. I mean, and 3 guys in double digit scoring, high double digits, so that's the stuff that we're talking about that makes a difference. And Hot to Trot, they had some guys like Ryan, also seems like a potential rookie of the year candidate here, who kept trying to go at them every possession. But also you also have Paulo who looked like he had a bad shooting night.
Paulo's actually played with Isaac and Garrett, and they know him. They made sure Paulo was as uncomfortable that game.
Yeah, they definitely did. The physicality against him was apparent there.
And but that's also the balance of guys missing. And so the Expendables was missing. They're missing Vince, right? Vince isn't there, and that's a game changer for any team. But like, let's just say this game, Justin Johnson didn't show up for the Expendables. That's basically what happened to Hot to Trot not having Trevor in that game. I think if you have Trevor, you can't guard Paolo as tightly as you're guarding him because you have someone like Trevor who's going to create. This is the balance of teams in a situation like this. It always sucks when you're shorthanded. Both teams were at 6, but I think it probably hurt Hot to Trot more not having Trevor than it hurt the Expendables not having Vince at this point. The Expendables with Vince, that's the number one team to me. That's the team, that's the bar for everyone. I think that they can be beat, but they're still the bar. In a 3-game series, you really want to go head to head with Justin Johnson and Vince Camper. And then with a team that moves the ball as much as this team does, it's not an easy matchup for anybody. So I think Hot to Trot's okay. I think them just missing players hurts. They also have a guy who I can't wait to have come play. I've heard nothing but amazing things about him. 6'7" big man, Chris Hansen. I think he played at, I don't remember if it was UCSD or UC Santa Barbara, one of those two places. Yannick played against him for years. I've been told he's going to be hands down the Jokic of this league, like triple-double machine, and he'll be hands down the best big man in the league. And that's kind of what they need. They need that post presence. It'll kind of balance out the floor. They have good 3-point shooters. It's a lot harder to guard those 3-point shooters when you have a big man who can kick the ball out and also score inside. So, I think Hot to Trot's good. I think they're really good. I think it's going to take towards the end of the season to see how good they're going to be. And we still haven't seen Paolo and Trevor play yet together. So I'm a fan of this team. I want to see it all together because I know they play together a lot. So I don't want to, smash on them too much because had they had those two guys, I feel like this would have been a really good game to watch.
Yeah, I mean those are two definitely big missing pieces there. Being that he Chris played at UC San Diego actually, which is in the Big West. Great coaching staff there. Shout out to my guy Clint Allard, associate head coach there. But definitely a big
Look at his
big
stat
addition.
lines. Look at his stat line in college.
I got it right here. Statistics. So his senior year, he averaged 13 and 6 rebounds, but shot 55% from the field, 39 from 3, and 95 from free throw. So definitely a big addition. He had a short senior year, but I'm actually more impressed with his junior year. He averaged 15 points and 8 rebounds and shot 54 from the field, 48 from 3, and 87 from free throw. Those are impressive stats. In the Big West, I'm very familiar.
Yeah, first 6'7" guy, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. So no, definitely those pieces. Yeah, a guy like that, Paolo's going to be hard to double him. A big addition. So I'm excited to see that team be at full force.
Yeah. Paolo and Trevor are two other guys, and obviously Chris based off when we see him, but Paolo and Trevor are two other guys that I think have the potential of playing overseas. They're both young guys. They're out of college, still developing. The game's going to start slowing down for them even more so than it already has. I think they're two guys that they have really good size on them as well as lead guards. There are two guys I could also see being players that you look at helping get contracts somewhere else. So 2 names to keep an eye on for the rest of the season for sure for everybody.
Definitely.
Oh, and then Garrett White. We didn't even talk. The guy had a monster game. We haven't even mentioned him, man.
Yeah, no, definitely looking back at his stat line here. I mean, again, it's significant. 38 and 13, 11 from 13 from the field, 5 for 5 from 3. I mean, that guy is a force to reckon with. He got the size, the athleticism, the ability to stretch the floor. Great addition to that team. Again, I'm a competitive guy, but I have to say right now they're the front runners for winning it this season, in my opinion, based on their assembled roster right now.
Yeah, that team's tough. I had to face them the first week, and the biggest thing is they have guys that have obviously gotten to play together. Isaac, Justin, Garrett, Kevin, Jelani, and Dom played. Well, actually, Kevin did not get to play with us in get to play with us in pros divisions, but they play together in other leagues as well. This team has really good chemistry. They know how to move the ball. Everybody's high IQ. Nobody's selfish. Everybody's going to do whatever they can to win. There's going to be nights where Dom leads the team. There's going to be nights where Garrett leads the team, like this last game. There's going to be nights where Justin just is Justin. And then there's going to be nights where Kevin Bland is the most critical person on this team because he has to go guard an elite big man. So they're all capable of it. This is a fun team to watch. You hate playing against them, but you love playing against them at the same time. It's a double-edged sword. So I agree. It's the bar right now for sure.
Not to, I know Zico wanted to bypass talking about his game and our game, but I do want to give a shout out to one of our key players, Dwayne Lee. Dwayne Lee has been a great addition to Doba. And one thing about most people that don't know about Dwayne is Dwayne never played organized basketball in college. He was a track star. So you are looking at somebody who plays basketball as a hobby, who loves it so much that he's good that, I'm not being biased, but he is an MVP candidate for our league.
Absolutely.
And his ability, his athletic ability, and his shot making ability is up there with a lot of them. I am going to talk shit about my teammate. Is let the refs fucking go, bro. Just play basketball. Just play.
Thing.
Huh?
Tell you the same thing. You got a technical to start the game.
I had to. They got to know the rules, bro. They got to know the rules. They're the referees, not me. But you know what? I told my team, since my old fat ass can't play like I want to, let me get the tech because it's not going to hurt them. So let me be the one arguing. You guys play basketball. That's what coaches do. That's what old vets do. I'm the see the Grays. I'm the Udonis Haslam of the team. You know what I'm saying? I'm just there because they owe it to me. The GM of Doba Sports, aka myself, I owe myself a roster spot, but really, these guys play. So
Omar, you need a nickname, bro.
I need a nickname.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I got Agent Zico, and then people used to call me ZP3 when I was a point guard.
You know what? And you know that in my younger days and better shape days, people used to call me D Will. That's why last year when I thought I was going to play, I had the retired D Will on the back of my jersey.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but you can't see D Will, bro. You gotta think of something that's you. Like D Will is D Will.
Well, yeah, ZP3 is also CP3, bro.
It's my initials though. I'm literally ZP3, so that's my number. It's high school.
You know what? I've never. You know what? Most people are not going to understand this nickname. It's on the back of my jersey this year. It's called Abu Mustafa, which is the father of Mustafa since my newborn. I changed my number this season to wear number 10 because he was born April 10th. So that's probably going to be my nickname.
No, I'm going forward. You need something funny. You need something that people actually call you. Nobody's going to call you that, bro. That's going to be on the back. They're going to think that's your last name, bro.
Probably. My Instagram and my Instagram handle is, a combination of who I am as a person and, the hala yalla. Everybody knows yalla in Arabic is come on, let's go. Huh?
Let's go.
Yeah, and then holla, I'm always hollering at the referees. I'm hollering at people. So Hala Yala was a nickname given to me by my friend. So, maybe next season I'll put Hala Yala on the back of my jersey.
We could do something like Omar dinner time Alameddine.
Come on, Zico, you're my witness. You've been to dinner at the house.
I know,
My
I know.
wife,
It was amazing dinner.
my wife is a great cook, and she has me on a diet, but I got to get my internal organs right, get healthy. That's the important thing. But definitely need a nickname.
You
You know
need
what,
to
Zico? Let's put it out there on the podcast,
love it.
on the Instagram. Let's see who comes up with the most creative. I got thick skin. I don't get offended, fellas. So let's see what kind of nicknames
Your
people.
team is the one that's gonna Frank. I'm betting it. Frank's gonna decide your nickname. I'm calling it. Frank is gonna think of something that's gonna make everyone
Frank,
laugh.
Frank is a fucking hater. Frank is definitely gonna cherish this opportunity to talk
I know
shit.
he
So,
is. I know
but
he is. Your
Zico,
whole team is. I'm calling it.
okay, let's see. You know what? Let's see.
Or
Let's see what the
maybe
league
the Van
has.
Wicks. The Van Wicks might think of something too, since we have plenty of history with playing with them as teammates for years. So I could see one of them maybe think of something too.
I can see my former teammates, guys that I, used to go to bat with, might have something to say. So I'm interested. That might
My
be.
money's on Frank. Okay, so we'll post that. We'll post that afterwards. We'll post the podcast and then we'll announce what should Omar's nickname be, and we'll see who comes up with the best one.
I definitely want to see what people come up with creatively.
My money's on Frank.
Oh, you know what? Only one person is not allowed to comment on this,
Okay.
and I'm gonna call him out because that's the homie. We go far back. Worm, Drano, Antoine Tanner. You know what? I'm gonna treat you like Eminem from 8 Mile.
That.
I'm gonna treat you like Eminem from 8 Mile and tell on myself before you do. At one point, tripping out because he kept calling me George Zimmerman in front of everybody, but that's not going to happen. So, Antoine, George Zimmerman is out of the equation, bro. Come up with something more creative.
Oh man, I'm still gonna repost that if he messages me for it.
I'm okay with Helsinki. You know what I'm saying? From Money Heist.
Oh,
Whoever watched it.
I love that. I love Helsinki. That's a good one, bro. I love that was an awesome show, bro.
That was my Halloween costume last year. So
love it, dude. That's awesome.
So, but definitely, I'm interested to see what people come up with.
Okay, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna post this. This should be funny. We should have fun with this then. But yeah, coming back to Dwayne Lee, I do want to mention something about him. I'm a big fan of Dwayne's. I had him on my pros vision team. I think Dwayne kind of reminds me of like a young Derrick Rose in our league. The athleticism for a guy his size is insane. Dwayne is my size. He's not that much heavier than me. He is my height. At his age, I was the exact same size as him. And, he had a dunk. You didn't get to see it, Omar. You just got to see the replay on video of it. Seeing it in person was completely different. He dunked over Kevin Bland, who Kevin Bland is about 6'8" and has pretty good wingspan to him. And Dwayne Lee got up and over this guy for a 5'10", 5'11" guy, his size.
With the left hand.
Yeah.
With the
left hand, and he's right-handed. To go up with that much speed and power and come down. He got leveled. He fell to the ground right after. I've seen him make these plays over and over again. He has this like sneaky athletic power that's just, it's insane. It's insane to me what he's able to do. I'm not surprised he's a track star. I'm sure the guy was just a bullet back when he was competing. So he's the young Derrick Rose in this league to me. I love watching him play. Insane athlete, can really shoot the ball too. I think most people are so enamored with his athleticism that they forget it. He'll come out there and he'll pop 10 threes on you, if you give him that room. I think he did that when he had 40 points in that one game last season.
Mm-hmm.
So, big props to him. I'm gonna give Dwayne a challenge, which I want to see him grow with. Dwayne is a number one guy. I think he's a number one guy. Obviously, last season he had Steve Bird on the team, so for part of the season he wasn't, and that's just because it's Steve Bird. Maybe playing next to Steve Burt or Justin Johnson, Dwayne comes down one notch. But he's a number one guy. I want to see Dwayne play like a number one guy every single possession because I think the dude's an absolute killer. I think if he starts doing that, I think he's going to lead the league in scoring. I don't think anyone will touch it because all his points are off of explosions where he decides to go off in a 4 to 5 minute span, and he'll score 18 points in that 4 to 5 minute span. And then he finishes with, like last game, 24 points. We held the guy to, I think, 6 points in the first half. And then just all at once, it clicked and he went off and just destroyed us. I think if he learns to play at that level the whole game, he's leading the league in scoring. He's a legitimate MVP candidate. And for him, there's another guy. Like, I know basketball's a hobby to him, but he could play somewhere if he could do that consistently. So I'm rooting for him. I hope he can do it. I hope he comes back to my pros division team, and I hope he plays at that level because dude's elite.
No, definitely. And that's a very good point, Zico, that you bring up. But I do want to point out here is just like many other teams, we are shorthanded with some of our key players. Not to forget, we do have DJ Thurman coming back, after his late trade to us last season. He enjoyed the team camaraderie. He enjoyed being part of the team that he wanted to come back and made sure that we kept him part of our roster. He's currently, again, another guy, he's currently playing in China, so that's why he's not here. He's following through with his overseas career. But he should be home next month. And he obviously he's going to have to transition into the new chemistry and the new rotation. So that's a dangerous thing that we have now, a guy that can do both score and facilitate coming off the bench. He might, I think Zico, I don't know how many games he needs to have, but I'm calling DJ Thurman for 6 Man of the Year right now.
DJ Thurman needs to start for your team, bro. I'm just gonna put that out there right now, too.
Well, you're right. He needs to start, but coming in that he might be at the second half of the season. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get him to start right off the bat might not work out, because one of the biggest additions that we have showing up this coming week that couldn't make it last week because they had a Drew League playoff game is Jalan Willwright, and played at Weber State alongside Damian Lillard. Plays in the Drew, high level guard. We're guard heavy. Once again, we have 4 high level guards that can score in bunches, and finding the right rotation is going to be my biggest challenge this year.
Of course. Yeah. Jalan is going to be, I'm glad he wasn't there in this last game. He is a tough cover. It definitely makes things interesting for you in terms of guards. You even got Khalil there, who Khalil has been playing great for you so far this season. Jalan, Khalil, Dwayne, and DJ are going to be tough to figure out minutes for, and then tough to match up for for any team. So it's not a bad problem to have. So I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. So we'll see next week how things go.
I do want to chime in on my team really quick. Chris Long is one of those guys that we were talking about. He's a young guy. He's 23 years old. He's a big dude, man. He's a bad dude for 23 years old.
Definitely.
Again, he reminds me a lot of Christian. He's a little younger than Christian. He's physical. He's powerful. He's highly skilled. He can attack the basket. He can finish over you, and he has. And he can still shoot 3.
Most people don't remember the young Ash on your team.
Yeah, you know what though? It's almost like he kind of reminds me of a mix of young Ash and young Farouk.
That's a great comparison. The physicality of Farouk and then the athleticism of Ash.
Yeah, and Farouk had that athletic power as well.
Yes.
I called him half man, half amazing when he's younger. And Farouk is on our roster. He's in Europe right now. He's older, obviously. He's even older than me, so he's not the Farouk we remember. But Chris Long has that. He has that ass kicker mentality that Farouk had, and then that quick versatility that Ash had. So I'm really fond of him. I think the kid has got a lot of potential. I'm hoping he gets an opportunity to play somewhere as well. He's another one of those guys I definitely want to try and send to Steve Burt, and hopefully give him an opportunity to play somewhere. So shout out to him. He's been carrying our team. We're 0-3 right now, but Chris has been doing everything he can on both ends of the floor. So really proud of him. I think he's playing great. And we did get some help this week since I'm injured. John Moore, it was his first game with the team. He finished with 9 points, 5 rebounds, but this guy's a player. Omar, I think you have a conversation with this guy and you watch him play and how hard he plays on both ends. He's one of those guys you just can't help but not like. I think he has the potential to really, really help our team, and I'm excited to have him as well. So even though we're on 3, I like my team. I like my group. We're getting along, and obviously I could shoot the shit with Daylight and talk smack to him during the game while he's on my team now, as opposed to on the other team.
Yeah, terrible addition. Terrible addition. So for everybody that knows or don't know, is Daylight is one of the biggest shit talkers, obviously battle rapper, shit talker in the league. Thinks he's going to windmill between the legs this season, so we're all waiting for it. But before our game, Daylight was, talking shit, asking if I was going to play. And I told him, no, just got back. I'm out of shape. That's not going to happen. He was like, you should, because I'm going to drop 30 on you. So there is an ongoing wager right now between me and Daylight that when we play one unit the second time around, that I should be ready to play and he will not score 30. And we're putting money up.
And you guys are going to guard each other the whole time?
Yes.
Oh, man. Daylight's not going to want to sub out. He's going to want to go at you the whole game.
But he's not going to have 30. I can tell you that right now.
Well, I know you're going to foul him at some point when he starts scoring on you.
Dude, Daylight's only going to do one move. And crossover, in and out, step back to the left.
I'm the first old guy to admit I got old and I'm in physical pain, and Daylight, you can hash those things out as much as you want. You guys want to go at it. It's not going to be pretty regardless. So you guys do it.
I didn't say I was going to go at him. I didn't say I was going to score 30. He just said, like you said, I've come to realize I'm washed up and I'm there to be a team leader on the bench and have my pom-poms ready and shit talk. But Daylight still thinks he can compete with the best of them. And so, well, let's just say the fact that he's coming at me to score 30 lets you know he's not capable of competing with the best of them anymore. He's trying to find the weak link to go at.
We should do like a one-on-one battle, like against like the old guys. Like we could throw me, you, Daylight, Frank in there, and just like do like a all-star game, like mini tourney with the old guys, just to see who wins it. First 1 to 3 each game, and then we'll do like a little bracket tiered and see who pulls out on top afterwards. You know what?
I think you should put that as a poll and see if the league wants to see the old guys go at
it. Oh, Antoine too. We got to throw Antoine to that. I know he'd have a blast doing it.
Oh man, Antoine. But you know what? This is I'm gonna speak about it. This is, fellas, the camaraderie that Zico and me and Mike have established over the years in the previous leagues that we've been involved with, and what we're building OC Basketball League off of is this family environment. There's competitiveness, but there's also love between everybody. It's a brotherhood. It's a family. There's shit talking. There's fun. There's laughter. And then we're also there for one another in hard times.
Absolutely.
And this is what this league is about for us.
That's literally why we started it. Just as a reminder, everybody, Omar unfortunately lost his father to MS. My mother was dealing with cancer, almost lost her multiple times. When we started this league, we wanted to play for a cause, and we used those 2 things as motivation. Every team in this league has something that they struggle with, a person who's dealing with something, We want this league to be something where you clear your head, you have fun, but you do it out of respect to whatever that pain might be. So I think when you have stuff like that, guys really do come together. And there's so many guys in this league that have come to me, most of them privately. They don't want their story to come out, but they'll come and they'll tell me about something they're going through, a similar situation that they're dealing with, or the first season I had one guy who was in the Army, and actually I don't remember if it was the Army or Marines, but he was going through trauma after everything he'd gone through. And he said that his team won. That's what he wanted to donate to mental awareness and therapies like that. And think about it, like you talk about, like, oh, your father passed away, my mom was sick, and someone comes up to you and talks to you about something like that, it hits home, regardless of what it is. And I reiterate this: if you have a story you want me to tell, if you want me to share it with the league, I would love to. I have one story in particular. I'm hoping that they're okay with me sharing. I want to share it down the line with everybody about a situation the player's dealing with, but I don't want to share unless they're okay with it. Again, most players haven't been, but they just want to talk about it privately. That's what this league is for, just something a little more than just basketball. So it's something I love about it, and it's brought a lot of guys together. There's 8 teams now, but there's still a good, I think, 36 guys who have played but are not on a team now, that have played, but they still follow the league. They still comment. They do all these things. They just couldn't get on a team, or there's guys that want to get on a team because of these reasons, and they haven't been able to. So I love it. It's something I really appreciate.
No, definitely. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is, I lost my uncle, my dad's brother, 2 months ago to cancer. So, these situations happen to all of us, and we might show on the outside the happiness and the fun and the barrier, but deep down inside, we all have some trauma, some personal things, and that's what we come together to have an escape and have a community around one another.
One of our first sponsors for this league was Restoic, and it is a company that helps athletes with mental awareness and mental therapy. There's literally an app for this. I can reshare this. I will absolutely should reshare this for them and give them another shout out. This stuff is real. It's important, and I'm really glad that our league is doing something to support it. Whatever the team picks as a championship, donation, I'm super happy with. Again, we did this last season, did Hearing Loss Association of Los Angeles. I think one of the players has a mom who has hearing loss and has struggled through it. Whatever it might be, it's important that everyone feels like they're part of something more, and that they could contribute to something more, whatever theirs might be. So really happy about that, man.
Definitely.
Omar, you got any other teams players you want to talk about before we call it a night?
I think we covered most of the teams, players. I mean, it's hard to touch on every single player and their qualities or what they bring to each team. And every week we'll try to, highlight somebody new.
Yeah.
And shout out to everybody in the league this season. Great competition, great basketball going on. Let's continue the high character play.
No
Fellas. Yeah, no technicals, me too. But fellas, the hot topic of the league is the officiating, and it's against all of us. And so we're trying our hardest to address that. But for all of you guys that play high level basketball, these are the same referees that you see at the Drew, you see at the JBL, you see at the Legacy League, you see at the 35 and over Pro-Am Buzz Summer League. So this is what's available to us right now, and we're trying to address it and fix it. But just let's play basketball. Let's fight through it. At the end of the day, we all gonna go home. None of us are playing for money right now. We're playing to donate. We're not playing to receive money. This is not TBT. This is not a money tournament. So let's just compete. Let's just keep having fun with it.
In terms of officiating, I know a lot of guys have complained. If you can find me better officials, hopefully at a less expensive cost, sure, bring them over. But just as a note, I've already made an official change. I cut an entire refereeing team out the first season that we had, and I moved over to this group. I know it's not perfect. It's never going to be. We're paying $50 a ref for 3 refs a game right now. I don't know how many other leagues aside from the Drew that actually do that. In fact, I don't think any other league does that for 3 officials. Am I wrong?
Most of the pro-ams have 3 officials, and
ABL?
they're paying, you know.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna get, and I'm okay with it most of the time. They're going to make mistakes. We make mistakes on the court every time. We all get turnovers. We all miss shots. It's normal. Don't expect them to be perfect either. But I will hold them to a high standard. I give them a hard time every week. So if you have a serious concern, please write an email. I will gladly send it to Samson Brew, the lead assigner. And I think I've done that already. I don't know if it was to Samson or to the prior group, but if you have a serious concern, write an email. I will send it to them. I will address it as best as I can myself, and we'll go from there.
So yeah, Zico. I look forward to week 4.
Me too.
Some good matchups.
Where are you playing? Let's see. Toba has Pippin ain't easy. Oh, you get to play my brother. Oh, my brother's gonna try and talk smack to you the whole time. He's gonna want you on the court just as much as daylight.
And you know what? That's fine. With his doozy, with his little baby shorts, you know what I'm saying? He can sit there and think he's swagging out on the court. That's fine.
No.
But if he's only taking 2 shots a game, I can average the same shot attempts. So if that's what we're doing, 2 for 2, we can do that.
You know what, though? You have a serious problem you have to focus on for the next game, because Kevin Thomas is riding pretty high right now, and he might just come out firing, riding that same wave at the end of the last game. So just be ready.
Oh, no, definitely. But you know what? A key aspect to the game of basketball is the mental part. And Kevin is easily frustrated by the officials, and he's so worried about talking to the sideline during the game. This is where Omar is the 6th man, and Dino's going to be talking to me. So I've eliminated 2 players by 1.
I'm not getting involved in this. They're going to be complaining to me after the game the whole time. My team will be facing Recognize, like we mentioned. So I get Angry Christian, Angry Mark, and Angry Kyle, and Angry Chima, which is just, perfect combination for me. So my team's up for it. We can't wait, but it should be fun. Happy Hoopers versus Hot to Trot. Will Happy Hoopers get back on a win streak, or will Hot to Trot, start rolling and maybe some of their guys show up? I think all of that dictates on who shows up for them. So that's a wait and see scenario to me. And lastly, Family Ties versus Expendables. That's a good game. That's the game of the night for sure. I think that's the game everyone should be paying attention to and should be watching. Obviously, we are able to live play one game that night, and it has to be the first game because YouTube won't allow me to update back-to-back games. So
Zico, should we consider maybe putting a poll up of what games people want, like which game it is? I know you said it's the first game due to back-to-back updates, but is there something where we can consider picking the game of the night that's going to be live?
That would be pretty cool if I could do that. The only issue with doing that, though, is the Wi-Fi is so bad that live game usually ends up grainy. And so that will be the game of the night. I think it might be better if that's the game of the night to have that game be recorded as opposed to live. So it is also a late game, so I don't know how many people actually watch it live anyway. at that point, I'm pretty sure everyone's showering or getting ready for bed because they got work Monday. So, but that's a good idea. We can vote for game of the night and see if people want us to try and live stream that one instead. I'll do that as well. So we got 3 polls we can do. We could decide Omar's nickname, decide if they want to see old geezers play one-on-one, and what should be the game of the night that we live stream. So we can definitely do that this week and see how that goes.
Definitely.
Still waiting on your Shaq and the Fool videos though.
I know, fellas, I'm behind. I need to sit there and watch them. But as Zico mentioned, got no kid, no wife at home, so I just need to get through the work week so that I can just sit there and watch some basketball. And I know for a fact that we probably have a lot of them. I just need to pick.
Oh yeah.
Pick the top. Are we doing top 3 or top 5?
Whatever you want. If you find 10 of them, put 10 of them, but it's up to you.
Yeah, so definitely. You know what, Zico? When's our bye weeks?
Well, that's to be determined. For sure, we have the 3rd, which is going to be Labor Day weekend. Okay, so it looks like we will also not have games on Sunday the 27th, which we tried getting another gym for that night and we will not be able to. So I'll have to announce that as well. Breaking news, there will be no games the 27th. That night will be pushed back to the last game of the season. So yeah, I'll move that whole night down to the last week of the season. We're going to have to skip 2 weeks. So we will have a bye 27th and the 3rd of September. So 2 weeks off in between the schedule.
And then we're back at it on September 10th.
Correct.
So we got this Sunday and then we're off for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And coming back on the 10th of September.
Might be able to ask one more spot for the gym. Might. I don't know if it'll work. Still trying to see if I can get a gym for us for that night so we don't have to skip it. But
yeah, I've fellas, I've struck out 0 for 3. You know, I'm out. Baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. So I've struck out with 3 Orange County gyms, and you know, Zico didn't want to push out to LA to accommodate the folks that we have coming from the southern part, you know, of the Orange County area and further than that. So we tried to limit it to Orange County. So I struck out with 3 Orange County gyms for that weekend.
by the way, for people who have no idea what we're talking about, Open Gym Premier actually let us know that on the 27th, there is a double tournament that will be going later. It would affect our hours and court availability. So they told us that we would not be able to play that night. That's what we're talking about right now. I'm looking for another gym to see if I can play somewhere else. And if we cannot find one, then we will skip that week entirely and have 2 weeks off. So if you know of a gym that is available and you have the key for and you want to help us out, we would appreciate it very much. If not, I'll announce soon that that week will be skipped. All right, we're going to call this a night. I doubt anybody's listened this long anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll be back at it again next Monday, fellas.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see everybody on Sunday.
All right. See you guys Sunday.